This is Dante Williams, and you're watching
Dante's
Boxing Nation.
This is Showtime, Sean Portman.
Filipino Flash, Jesse Burns.
This is Al Bernstein. You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Hi, I'm Sugar Ray.
Chick Shape.
Sergio, the last name, Mora.
Dante's Boxing Nation. Boom, 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 boom.
Yo, this is Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder.
My name is Gennady Golovkin.
And you're watching
Dante's Boxing Nation.
On this Golovkin versus Danny Jacobs fight. This is what he had to say to the LA Times. Quote, "We've seen Golovkin get hit before, and if Jacobs catches him, we might see Golovkin get hurt. Whoever lands the first big punch will have the edge. Jacobs is an athletic guy. It surprised me how big, athletic, and muscular he is. He absolutely can do it." Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Sergio Mora, a man who knows Danny Jacobs very well because he shared the ring with Danny Jacobs twice, knocking down Danny Jacobs and eventually being knocked out twice, he gave a very interesting take. The chin is the suspect thing. I was able to drop him, but he's a tremendous puncher, and if he catches Golovkin, he'll hurt Golovkin. End quote. Now, you know what's really interesting about Sergio Mora's take is Sergio Mora is one of the rare boxers in the world that has a high boxing IQ when it comes to breaking down the sport, talking boxing. Not saying he's on the level of a Paulie Malignaggi, but Sergio Mora is one of those very educated boxing fans and boxers as well. Coincidentally, what you heard Sergio Mora just say right there is very similar to what you guys have heard me say time and time again on my videos and even on the boxing show. You've even heard members of my boxing panel on the radio show say the same things or very similar things, which is whoever gets hit first will probably have the advantage in a fight like this. Clearly, by what Sergio Mora said, you could tell he was very impressed with Danny Jacobs' power. Something that I told you guys is going to be interesting to see how Golovkin deals with Danny Jacobs' power. Because even though fighters like David Lemieux, Curtis Stevens had power, this is different type of power because this is power with athleticism. This is power with ring generalship. This is power with a decent reach and a slight height advantage over Gennady Golovkin. So it'll be really, really interesting to see how Golovkin deals with this type of power. But I know that Team Golovkin, they're going in there very confident because they're so focused on assuming that Danny Jacobs has a suspect chin. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But, you know, that could be very misleading going in there focusing on that. Because if you don't respect Danny Jacobs enough, Golovkin could end up getting knocked down the way Danny Jacobs got knocked down when he was in the ring with Sergio Mora. We all know that when Danny Jacobs got knocked down, he had just knocked down Sergio Mora and he was basically about to finish the job. So he threw caution to the wind and ran into a shot that he didn't see, which is usually how you end up getting knocked out or knocked down. I believe Floyd Mayweather Sr., he said it best. He said the quickest way to get knocked out is trying to knock someone out. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out fight night. Something else that's very interesting, you know, when it comes to the diehard Golovkin supporters, you guys cannot have it both ways, and you guys keep trying to have it both ways. When I say that this fight is competitive, when you hear me, Sergio Mora, or Steve Forbes, anyone, you hear anyone say this guy, Danny Jacobs, he has a good chance in this fight, etc., etc. We've seen how the Brook fight played out. We've seen Golovkin get hit. When you hear people say stuff like this, you guys get upset. You guys are on some, how dare you try to say that this Golovkin, this Danny Jacobs has a chance against Gennady Golovkin. Now see, what's so crazy about you taking that approach is if we were all saying that this is just another cherry pick and Gennady Golovkin is only fighting this guy because he got knocked out and this is easy pickings for Golovkin, if we were to say something like that, then these same fans, they would start defending Danny Jacobs just to ultimately defend Gennady Golovkin. Then they'll start talking about how good Danny Jacobs is and how impressive his knockout was over Peter Quillin. You see what I'm saying? They want to have it both ways, but you can't have it both ways because the truth is not split both ways. At the end of the day, I'm leaning slightly towards Gennady Golovkin to win this fight, but I would not be surprised if Danny Jacobs pulls off the upset. And I'm still looking forward to seeing the training camps, seeing both training camps, Gennady Golovkin's and Danny Jacobs. I want to see how they look in training, and then I'll have a better assessment of how the fight should play out. So, this was a really good breakdown from Sergio Mora. And this is a guy who, once again, he knows Danny Jacobs very well. I thought it was, once again, interesting how he talked about how impressive he was seeing the combination of power and athleticism wrapped into one. Something else that was impressive with Danny Jacobs knocking out Sergio Mora twice. Now, obviously, Sergio Mora, he's not a world beater. He's not a pound-for-pound fighter or anything like that. But one thing he is a very elusive target. No one has ever been able to hit Sergio Mora with more than 2 punches at a time, more than 1 punch at a time. So I was really impressed, not just with Danny Jacobs' power, but his accuracy, his selection of punches to where he could land combinations and eventually break down and knock out a very elusive target in Sergio Mora. That showed me Danny Jacobs' ring IQ, and it showed me the type of wits that he has in the ring. He's not just a winger. He doesn't just throw wild punches hoping that he'll land something. He's a very intelligent thinker in there. So this fight, once again, anything could happen in this fight. Anything could happen in this fight. And I really look forward to watching it. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
This is Bobby, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.